Hey everybody, how are you doing this week? I hope you're doing really great. I hope you had a great week. Today we're going to talk about a very common illness today. It is dementia, and it seems to be on the rise, and it is a life-altering disease. So today we're going to talk about some of the causes and some of the things that we might be able to do to prevent it. How are you doing today, Jennifer?
I am well. I am well. I'm very interested in this topic. I know some people who are personally suffering with this, but then I also had family members who died after a long battle with dementia, and it's just so hard seeing somebody lose all their thinking abilities. Not knowing where they are, not knowing where they're going, and then not knowing who their family members are anymore.
Yes, frightening. It's just terrifying when you know somebody your whole life, they were vital, intelligent people, and then one day they can't even remember your name anymore. I mean, it's such a devastating disease. It's scary.
It is. My granddad was one of them, and he twice it happened. He would call from some place, say, he'd just be lost. So luckily he would stop. He was driving.
Oh
Luckily he would stop and find out where he was supposed to be going. Yeah.
man.
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
the end of the driving the second time.
oh yeah, I mean, it's well, I have somebody in my family. He has it. He's starting to show symptoms. Uh, and it's scary, but we have seen a little bit of improvement, and I'll talk about some of the things we're doing with him that seem to be helping him. There is hope. I mean, I'm not saying there's a fuel. I'm not saying there is a full cure, but I also believe in the incurables program from Dr. Christopher. I believe you can't heal anything. Now, there's also everybody's going to die. I mean, sometimes there's something's going to happen, and it's just our time. But I'm the kind of person I'll never give up, and I'm going to try everything I can with the people who will listen.
Yeah. I'm totally with you there. I think that well, as Dr. Christopher and Dr. Schultz said, there's nothing that's incurable. Your environment or something created this. We can uncreate it. Does that make any sense?
It does. Yeah.
That's not the right word. But then there's also the times where it's just gone too far.
Yeah.
And so while there are incurables, there is a time limit on that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have gone to I remember Dr. Schultz talking about someone coming to see him, and I think the family members were all, very much into we've got to reverse this, where the person knew it was too far. The patient knew it was too far and was ready to go on. And so then it was more about making that person comfortable and letting them have a good end of life. And so this doesn't have to be related to dementia, is
No.
for anyone at the end. But back to the incurables, I really believe that nothing is incurable.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of factors. Also, a lot of things you and I teach is I think always prevention is better than the cure. That's why we teach such, you know, clean food programs and to do detoxifications at least twice a year, if not 3 times a year, to try to
Yes.
prevent these things from happening. But
Mhm.
we also have the incurables. But I think the incurables, I think we should try to live in a way where we never need the incurables program. Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah, prevention
Yeah.
is key. I mean, there are so many
Yeah.
things that you can do
Hmm.
now before it's too late. Unfortunately, everyone, myself included, we all think we're invincible. We
Oh yeah.
think we don't need to worry about what we're eating or what we're doing or whether we're sleeping, until we get the wake up call.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
it's,
want anybody to think that we're perfect. I'm not perfect. Jennifer's not perfect. Nobody is perfect, but we can all do better than we are now. And
right. But then there's also, like, for me, I don't know, maybe I was in denial. I thought that I was eating healthy. I
yeah,
had a master's, I had
yeah,
studied, nutrition, I had gone to culinary art school, and I really thought that I was eating healthy, unless and I see this in my clients now too. You know, they'll tell me they're eating healthy and they're not, you know. And when we talk about it, they know that they're eating things that they really shouldn't. So maybe there's a level of denial in there too. I got off track, but I really thought that I was
Oh,
eating
it's true.
healthy. So a lot of times it's, you know, you don't know what you don't know.
No.
Right. Right. And so we have to remember, I've heard Brene Brown say everybody is doing the best they can.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
all we
Well,
can do. You know?
yeah. When we judge someone, when we look at someone and say, I can't believe they're acting like that, or I can't believe, you know, that they did this or they said that, we have to believe that everybody's doing the best that they can. You know, just because we think a different way or we learned a different way doesn't mean they didn't learn another way. And we know, you and I, from past traumas, you know, the way you grew up. You know, sometimes you don't know. I remember when my brother was like 13 saying, this is not dementia related. You know, we were driving down the road and he was like, I've noticed that there's dads like in the yard playing with their kids. It was like, why does some dads play with their kids?
Yeah, I know, because that's a more healthy dad.
Yeah, and then like my college roommate, her dad brought her to college, and then her dad would come visit her and take her to lunch and stuff, and I was like, "Your dad's coming to see you?" You know? Yeah, so,
That's
I mean, that's totally, you know, that's not, well, it could be related to dementia. You know, that trauma could definitely lead to dementia later on. But my
exactly.
my point is we all have different backgrounds. We all have different experiences, and my truth is not your truth. And so that is totally related to our health as
Exactly.
well.
And
Yeah,
what I've noticed is you have to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and you have to realize this person has been through things I have no idea about, and they're
right,
some of the things they're battling could be just so tough. And so you have to meet them where they are.
right.
And
And sometimes we don't even know how to do that. You know, walk in another man's shoes. I can't walk
oh
in
yeah.
your shoes because I haven't lived what you lived.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can just have some compassion and empathize where I can. Yeah. So
Yeah.
with dementia, sometimes there is that trauma aspect too. Sometimes, you know, the holding onto grudges, you know, that can be a part of it, but it's not always that. I mean, there's so many other things. Like we were talking earlier about nutrition. We definitely want to talk about nutrition and herbs and things like that that can help with the nutrition. Why don't you tell us a little bit um, how nutrition is related to dementia from your point of view?
Well, the most common form of dementia, 90%, is called vascular dementia. And this simply means the vascular system is unhealthy, which unfortunately is a common problem in America and places like Britain, Europe, places like that that eat the Western diet. So what this means is your blood flow is compromised. People have arterial plaque in the arteries. Their circulation isn't as good as it could be. So the carotid arteries, the arteries that feed the brain, the blood flow is weak. And so eventually the brain doesn't get the nutrition, the oxygen, and the nutrition that it needs, and it starts to compromise the integrity of the brain cells. So you start to have forgetfulness. And of course, when if you get to stage 5, we all know that it leads to death. But so what do we do about this? Well, first thing we have to do is get off the high fat American diet. I mean, we're talking about red meat, we're talking about full fat dairy, we're talking about eggs. A lot of people think eggs are healthy, but they're not. They're full of cholesterol. We're talking about processed foods. All these things can lead to, they actually damage your arterial lining. And so the body tries to heal the lining or the arteries, and it lays down cholesterol plaque. It's kind of like, filling in a pothole in the road. So, but they're finding, I was in a dietetics class in America, 10-year-old children that die of accidents, they're already finding arterial plaque in 10-year-old children now. And it's
I've
all
seen it.
related to our diets, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that. How scary and sad is that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah. It has to be related to the obesity epidemic too. Epidemic. My granddad had at least two episodes. I don't know if they were heart attacks or what. But he'd have like some blackouts, but he had a pacemaker too. And so all of that preceded the signs of dementia that we saw. So, it was definitely heart related. But and as you said, I completely agree with the high fat, the processed foods, the trans fats, the animal fats. But then sugar. We are a
Mm,
sugar nation. And as we were talking about before, dementia is being called type 3 diabetes. It's
yeah.
all about blood sugar control as well. And so many of us, we know we shouldn't eat sugar. We know we shouldn't eat cookies, cakes, candies, pastries, sodas, sweetened beverages, things like that. But a lot of times people don't realize that they're eating sugar. Like when I meet with clients, they'll tell me I don't eat any sugar, but then when we go through what they're eating, they're putting some honey in their tea, and they're which honey can be medicinal and honey can be healthy, but then they're eating pasta at night, regular pasta, maybe some crackers with their soup. They're having a sandwich at lunch. Maybe they switch that sandwich to a wrap, maybe a biscuit for breakfast, things like that. What they don't realize is all of that is sugar to the body. Biscuit is made from flour, highly processed flour. And while that flour was made from a grain, when it's processed like that, is so easily absorbed, it's immediately converted to sugar in your body. Your body doesn't hardly need to break it down or anything, because there's no fiber or anything to slow down the digestion. The pasta, same thing. Now, you can get whole wheat pasta. You can get some, like people say, well, I have gluten-free pasta. Well, that could be even worse. If it's a rice flour pasta, that is like immediate sugar. We just have to be really careful. There's anything made from flour, the pasta, the biscuits, the wrap. So I don't know why wraps are considered healthier than sandwich breads. But and even like if you buy a spinach wrap, well, I guess what? I made these when I was in culinary art school. It was the same flour wrap. We just added spinach powder to it. Well, that's not giving you any, maybe that can give you a couple of nutrients, a little bit, but it's not healthier than a regular white one. If we made a beet wrap, it would have beet powder stirred into it. Same with pasta. Beet pasta is the regular floured pasta with some beet powder added to it, or spinach powder. So it's just sugar with a couple of extra vitamins. And so people think they're eating fine when those, they don't realize those things are treated like sugar in the body.
Yeah. We go back again to how difficult it is to navigate the nutritional terrain, because 10 years ago, I thought tuna sandwiches on nature's own whole wheat bread were good for me.
I had the same thing. Or
But
I'd
that's
have
where I was.
peanut butter toast for breakfast on
Yeah.
that same, the nature's made wheat bread. Yeah, peanut butter toast.
And then
Yeah,
if we're talking about healing, if we're talking about a truly healing diet, is something that most people wouldn't recognize.
exactly. Exactly. And I think we talked about this before too. So I took my nutrition courses in the 90s. So we had the food guide pyramid back then. And so the base was um, grains. And it would say mostly whole grain. So that meant it didn't all have to be whole grain. And as a matter of fact, today, if you read through the nutrition guidelines, at least 50% should be whole grain. So that means up to 50% could be processed grains. Well, guess what? That's not healthy for you. That's saying that 50% of the main part of your diet can be sugar, can be processed. And we know processed foods damages the pancreas, damages the liver, raises your blood sugar control. I mean, every blood sugar, not control, raises your blood sugar. Yeah, it causes so much damage. And then also leads to things like dementia. And so that's the hardest thing for people, you know, especially with us here in the South. You know, we have
Oh,
biscuits with everything, or cornbread. Biscuits or cornbread with everything. And cornbread is the same thing, is made from flour, and it is treated like sugar by the body. Yeah, so it's really making a full lifestyle change.
oh yeah.
And that is so hard for people. And as we were talking about earlier too, people don't want to make those changes until they are given a scary diagnosis.
Yeah, that's
Until
mhm.
the pain point is that high, they're not going to make a change. And it is hard. I know it's hard. I've done it myself. I know how hard it is. I know when you look at what you should be eating and you look at what you're currently eating and you go, how? How? I don't know how to make this work. And so I completely relate to people who want to change and they just don't know how. It's
Oh,
hard.
I agree. I mean, when I first started this, I was looking at the Dr. Christopher diet. I'm like, wait a minute now,
Yeah,
that's
how can
way too
anyone do
restrictive.
that?
I didn't even do that. I mean, the mucus diet, it seems more restrictive than even the raw food diet to me, but it looked hard. But now that it's just like anything else, is a learning curve. I love what I eat now. And I'm not lying. I swear I'm not lying. I love what I eat now. You know?
Yes. Yes, me too. It's like it's opened up a whole new world of creativity. It's
Yes.
like before I was so limited in what I was eating, and now it's it's just endless. Yeah. And once you're in there, once you know how to do it, it is so easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
That's the
back
biggest factor for any disease, and including dementia, is our foundation is always going to be the diet.
right. Right.
And
Yeah, you have to get the diet right.
yeah,
Right.
a
But the
nourishing diet and also a cleansing diet. They do the
right.
same.
Right, exactly. But that's not, and the same diet is for all. It's
Yes.
not what you need to eat for dementia versus
Mm-mm.
what you need to eat for heart disease versus what you need to eat for kidney disease or liver disease or arthritis. It's all the same. It's all the same. You don't have to
Yeah.
eat something different for all of it. Now, if you have ulcerative colitis, we might need to tweak things a little bit. You know, you can still eat the same foods, but maybe we need to blend them and juice them instead of eating them while you heal, but not long term. It's not permanent change. It's just getting you back where you need to be. Same thing with anything. You know, we have to detox first, get the crud out. Both of us have detox programs. I have clients going through one right now. They just wrapped up, and I have another one coming up in a couple of weeks, because you have to change what you're eating. And sometimes it's so hard to make a change from the way you're eating to the way you want to eat, that you do need to do something, you know, drastic, like doing juices or blended meals to just help you break those sugar habits, which is real, and help you undo those habits and get you back on the right course. Sugar is huge. Sugar is huge. When people go through some of my programs, sugar is worse than anything. They think caffeine's going to be the worst, because I do make them give up caffeine for at least 5 days too. When they think the headaches and all are caffeine related, when really it's sugar. Sugar activates the opioid centers of your brain. And so just taking sugar out, cutting out flour, bread, biscuits, rolls, pasta, plus the added sugars, like it can cause headaches and things like that. So people go, oh, it's dangerous. It's not dangerous. That's a detox symptom. Your body is reacting because those opioids up there are saying, it's just like, it's a drug. They're
Yeah.
saying, hey, I need my drug. I need my drug. And they're yelling louder and louder, giving you that headache so that you give them the sugar that they need. Yeah, it's caused from the gut. You have 100 million neurons in your gut that go to your brain. And so, as Dr. Christopher said, everything begins in the guts. Those gut microbes are signaling to those opioid centers, hey, I need my sugar. And those are not the beneficial ones that are hitting those opioid centers. We have to rechange the microbiome, and it takes 3 to 4 days to change your flora And so it takes a while to get rid of the sugar and get you back on track. So if dementia is something in your realm, if someone you know or love is going through this, then we need to get them off the sugar. We need to get them off the processed grains and dairy meats, as Daniel talked about earlier.
And once we got the diet intact there's other factors that we always have to look at, but there's other studies showing that a lot of people that have dementia, they're finding aluminum deposits in the brain and other heavy metals. And so like we talk about, our environment now is so toxic. It's causing a lot of our problems. That's why we teach detoxification, because you have to get and when we detox, it's just like Jennifer was saying, that this diet we teach is a diet for every disease. So it simplifies it. And we also detoxify for every illness, whether you have gunk in your brain or in your liver or in your kidneys, it's going to get rid of all of it at the same time. And so also we look at personal care products. If you're using deodorant with aluminum still, please stop using that. I mean, our aluminum cookware, things like this, any places in your life that you can get rid of ingesting toxins, deodorant, aluminum cookware, I don't know, drinking tap water. Tap water is just poison for most of us.
Right. And if you're having trouble finding a deodorant that works, and that's why, because that's for my husband, that was the hardest thing. He's a farmer. We live here on a farm. He was like, how can I work in 103-degree weather, high humidity, without wearing a deodorant with aluminum? Because aluminum's for the antiperspirant, which keeps you from sweating. Well, there you go, right there. That is the biggest thing. We need to talk about that. But it was hard to find something that would work. And he would meet with potential customers, and he was like, I can't have a smell. And so let's talk about that. We need to talk about that. So we use the Think Dirty app, though. I'm not an affiliate. I don't know if I can talk about brands on podcasts, but Think Dirty, like you're thinking about something, Think Dirty app is free, and you can scan the deodorant you have now. It will tell you what chemicals are in there. It gives you red if it's harmful, a yellow if there's warnings for it, and green if it's not. And it will give you alternatives. And so you can find a healthier deodorant. And so we've tried several different brands. We can get them even at Kroger. It started off, we would have to order them on Amazon. But now even our Kroger, I think everybody here in the US has some form of Kroger nearby. I'm not an affiliate with them either. And I'm sure other stores as well, Sprouts, Whole Foods, they have deodorant brands that are much cleaner too, but you want to get rid of. So the main thing about, should I talk about the deodorant or say that for another podcast?
We can do a podcast on products like that if you want to. But
Okay.
what deodorant have you found? Did you find for them that works without aluminum? Did you?
We like Native. I don't know if I
Native?
can say brands on here, but we
Oh,
really
well,
like Native. We all use and Carly runs track, and she's a teenager. And so, yeah, that one works the best. But I wanted to say with deodorant, if it has aluminum in it, it's to keep
yeah.
you from sweating. When we keep ourselves from sweating, we're holding the toxins in. We're allowing toxins to recycle. We sweat for a reason. That stinky smell is bacteria growing. We're getting stuff out, we're getting toxins out. And so that's why you have the smell. So when you first go off of a deodorant with aluminum, you are going to have a smell, and it's going to smell for a few days every time you sweat. But then after maybe a week, I don't know how long it took for you, you don't sweat as much. It's like you don't sweat as much, you don't have the smell anymore. So we do still use the deodorant, especially when it's 103 degrees. But you don't have that smell. It's all because we're creating the smell by using the products and stifling the toxins from being released. And the aluminum is affecting our brains as well. So you definitely have to eliminate aluminum and other chemicals. Nail polish is one of the worst ones. I can't remember how fast chemicals. People think my fingernail's hard and protects me. Well, it's still porous. And I think it only takes like 15 seconds for the chemicals in nail polish to get into your bloodstream. And nail polish is horrible. It's horrible. And so many women, I mean, it's like for me, I am definitely an oddball not having nail polish. And people say, well, don't put it on, I only put it on my toes. That's still going into your bloodstream. So those toxins can affect your brain. So you want to be really careful. And makeup, so many women suffer from dementia as well. And we think, I don't know why we think of men, but women and men both suffer from dementia.
Yes, unfortunately. Well, I could talk. I mean, I have a person in my life that's suffering, and he seems to be improving a little bit, which is kind of exciting. But what I'm doing with him is what me and Jennifer talk about. I have him on a plant-based diet. I have him on the Dr. Christopher's cleansing kit. Now, you can use any cleansing herbs you want to, but this is one that we know that works well. It's the cleanse for the lower bowel, kidney, liver, and the bloodstream. And it's been, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, and he seems to be doing better. I mean, I'm pretty hopeful for him. Like, I don't think that dementia, I don't know, does it have to go to stage 5? I don't think everybody goes to stage 5. So
Yeah, I think it can be reversed.
yeah. Well, I saw an article. I saw actually an actual study from other health coaches that were helping people reverse dementia. I mean, like they were basically doing what we're doing, cleansing, clean diet. And another thing that helps is activities like working out, dancing, playing an instrument, doing crossword puzzles, anything that stimulates your brain. It starts to help, it helps build neural pathways for
Learn a new
memory.
language.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all good things too for prevention. Like they're finding out the more that you use your brain throughout your life, the less likely you are to develop memory problems.
Right. And at the School of Natural Healing, we talked about different herbs that help with circulation, especially circulation to the brain.
Oh yeah.
And so that's another thing is, remembering that it is related to heart health,
Oh yeah.
cardiovascular conditions. And so any of the herbs that are helpful for your circulation are also going to be helpful for the brain. But then there are some that are specific to the brain as well. Do you want to talk more about the herbs that we like for that?
Yeah, one really popular and effective herb for the brain is ginkgo biloba.
But yeah.
And I mean, there's studies showing that it can help prevent and even improve memory problems. And we like to combine that with rosemary because rosemary actually helps circulation going to your brain. And then, of course, the master, cayenne pepper. I mean, for most conditions, especially involving circulatory problems, which most of your conditions do, cayenne pepper is an excellent circulation balancer. It improves circulation. It also, I remember Christopher would say if your blood pressure is too low, it can bring it to a healthy level. If your blood pressure is too high, it brings it back to a healthy level. I mean, cayenne is amazing. I've used it for with myself, a lot of my clients, a lot of my family members, and Dr. Chris actually reversed. He had like rheumatic heart disease that he was able to reverse with cayenne pepper and the plant-based diet. So
Yeah.
and then what are some other herbs for the brain?
Those are the main
Yeah, those-
ones I was thinking of. Definitely ginkgo biloba and rosemary. But then I was thinking about the heart ones too.
Oh yeah,
Hawthorn, hibiscus.
yeah.
Yeah, those are all wonderful as well. But cayenne. I can't say enough about cayenne. It's the best
I mean, you should
for
look. I
everything.
mean, there's so many studies on cayenne pepper. It actually protects your endothelial function, the lining of your arteries that can protect them, and it's just amazing. I don't know, and it's so easy and cheap to get. I mean, you can get it anywhere. I mean,
Hmm.
So it's great for the brain. Like we were taught, disease in the body is started by a blockage somewhere,
Right.
and we just need to free these blockages up.
It's constipation somewhere in the body. It
Hmm.
doesn't have to be necessarily in the intestines, though we do believe most of it does come from the intestines, but constipation somewhere. I just happen to think one of the things that we haven't mentioned that I think is crucial is sleep.
Oh God, yeah. The
Yeah.
brain detoxes during sleep.
Yes, that's when it clears up all those pathways and connections and makes all the repairs. And so that is closely tied to stress and closely tied to insulin resistance. So anyone who has insulin resistance, if they're cortisol or is under high stress, which they're usually tied together, if your cortisol is not peaking at the right time because you're stressed out all the time, then it's not allowing your body to take the time to clear up all those different pathways. Let me figure out how I can make that reword that so that it makes sense. Number one, if you eat too late at night and you go to bed late at night, then your blood is going to be still full of sugar. Insulin's still going to be out, trying to shuttle sugar into your cells as you go to sleep. And if insulin's out, the growth hormone cannot come out. Growth hormone doesn't come out until after insulin is gone. And growth hormone is what goes through and helps to repair pathways. And so we really need to make sure that you're not eating before bed, that you're not eating high glycemic, like eating cake or something before you go to bed is the worst. And so eating something lower glycemic in the evenings, don't eat 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. That's going to be the best thing to do to help clean up all those pathways, and go to sleep. Go to sleep. Set a time to go to sleep, ideally between 10 and 11 at night. Don't stay up too late. Go to bed and go to sleep. And if you have trouble going to sleep that early, start creating a sleep ritual where you do go to bed at that time. Drink some nighttime teas. Maybe you're afraid you're going to get up and have to go to the bathroom in the morning. Start working on something you can do now to help you get a better night's sleep, because you have to sleep to make those repairs.
I saw an interesting thing showing that if you raise the head of your bed like 6 inches,
Mhm.
it helps your body detox because of the gravity.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah,
Well, that seems like something that would be pretty easy to do.
yeah. I don't know if it's I mean it's not mandatory, but it's very interesting. I think it was like some article in the sleep journal. I saw it. I don't study a lot, but it was, and they claimed that a lot of the ancients, they actually built their beds with a slight incline in them because they knew this. It would help.
I wonder
Uh,
what that would feel like. Would it be uncomfortable to sleep
you get used to it.
stuff like that?
I did
Yeah.
mine that way, and at first it was
Uh-huh.
kind of weird, but after a few days, you don't even notice it anymore.
Hmm.
So interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people use those beds. Like I have family members who have them that adjust.
Yeah,
Yeah. So maybe
yeah.
they can, that's much easier for someone who has that kind of bed.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So we talked about cleaning up the foods, but we didn't talk about foods to eat. Whenever I think of the heart and circulation, I think of red foods. So making sure you're adding red tomatoes and foods made with tomatoes, like cooked tomatoes, can sometimes be even healthier. Um, Purple foods, purple sweet potatoes, red bell peppers, any strawberries, raspberries. All of these are really good for the heart. Any any fruits and vegetables, but especially the greens. Our
Oh yeah.
greens are so high in minerals. You want to make in cleansing. So greens are so important. As I tell my clients, I want you to have greens 3 times a day. And it sounds impossible, but throw in some greens in a smoothie bowl, or have some savory breakfast in the morning where you have some cooked greens. I used to have cooked greens in the wintertime. That's easier. Have a salad every day, a big salad that helps with nitric oxide. We need nitric oxide for healthy blood flow throughout the body, but the brain as well. Yeah, do you have other tips for foods?
We were talking about nitric oxide. Greens are great. Beets are supposed to be astronomical for nitric oxide production. I mean, pretty much any fruit or vegetable, like Jennifer is saying, is really good for the heart. Also, hydration helps us with blood flow, helps thin the blood, helps clean the toxins. It's basically a whole all these factors working together. That's what we teach. I mean, the detoxification, the healthy plant foods, the hydration, the sleep, the cleansing herbs. You put all these things together and you will be amazed in what you can overcome.
Yeah, it's not just one thing.
No.
Yeah, you can't just add some beets because you heard they're good for your heart and think that's going to help make a difference. And it's not. You have to make a full lifestyle change, looking at all aspects.
Mhm.
Time out with friends, rest, relaxation, but also exercise, healthy food, fresh air, sunshine, sleep.
And one thing I think you'll find, if you think all this sounds too much, look, if you commit to a program like this, the after a while, you're going to feel so empowered. You're not going to feel scared anymore. You're going to feel very empowered that you have some control. You have some control on how your health is going to be. And it also branches out into other areas of your life. Like you get more positive, you build confidence that things are possible. I mean, if you can heal yourself from an incurable disease, imagine everything else is going to seem like child's play, you know?
Yeah.
And it's possible. The people have done it. The body's amazing. That's one thing that they don't teach anymore is the body is a self-healing biological creation. It just takes effort.
Yes. Dr. William Lee talks about that. He said, for us to think that, lizard can regrow their tail, but we can't regrow things
Oh yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
I
Yeah.
know.
Other animals can regrow and recreate different body parts and we can too. We just have to allow the body to do it. We can't get in its way. We can't stop it,
Yeah.
which we talk about in other things. Conventional medicine stops and doesn't let the body do its natural thing. And so it's nurturing the body's own processes, its own healing process. We are not stronger than God.
No, 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 nobody.
Yes, our bodies are created to protect themselves and take care of themselves. But just like the trees and all of nature is made to grow and recreate and correct and rebuild. But there are times where we have organisms that break down as well. So if we get past that one point, when it's the trees, the mushrooms start breaking down the trees. If it's us, it's our microbes. They start breaking us down as well. And so we have to take care of ourselves and make sure that we're allowing our body to do its job.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, I think we've talked a lot about dementia today. I'm sure we'll think of some things that we should have mentioned, and we'll talk about those at another time. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. Please comment. Let us know you're listening. Let us know what else you'd like to hear us talk about. We love to hear from fans. Anyway, thanks for joining us.